please fill out the interest form so we can get in contact with you so you know about everything, which we'll talk about in just a second. We do have some officers. Oh, I'm going to stop this music before I go crazy. I'm the president. We have our vice president, Traeger. Hello. Ellie is our secretary. Chase is our historian, public relations, all of the above. And then Wade can't be with us tonight because he has some work meeting, but he's our treasurer. Woo! Yeah. Ellie?
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what is this? What is ACDA and why are we here? Basically, ACDA stands for the American Choral Directors Association, and MCDA is like a chapter of ACDA. So by being a member of one, you are also a member of the other. And we are the MSU chapter of MCDA, and yeah. So I'm going to read for you guys the mission of ACDA, and this is on their website. The mission of ACDA is to inspire excellence and nurture lifelong involvement in choral music for everyone through education, performance, composition, and advocacy. So that can look like a lot of different things, whether it's networking, helping you prepare for your future, learning more about the choral world, choral jobs, just giving you guys any resources that you might need. And that's through our newsletters, through our meetings, and also through the conferences, which Traeger's going to talk more about later. And then also, also we have NAFME Collegiate at MSU. This is a different organization, but if you're becoming a music educator, it's also really important to be a part of that and attend their meetings. They're more specifically for music educators, so National Association for Music Educators. And they bring students to MMEA every year. So.
Hello. So there are some educational conferences you've probably heard of, like MMEA and MCDA, but upcoming soon on September 20th is the fall refresher. So MMEA started doing this little thing in the fall semester for educators where they kind of refresh you on some things just to talk about stuff, just a reminder. And so Dr. Plisco will be doing a session there, and then Dr. Catalina will be there. I don't know too much about him, but I have this posted up here. You can look at that if you can see it. Dr. Plisco has this posted on her Facebook, but it will be in Kansas City. It's from 12 to 4:30 that day. It's at some church, technically in Kansas, but Kansas City. And then we'll have MMEA, and if you join NAFME, you can go to MMEA for free. If you want to go to SWACTA, you can come and talk to us, and we can try and get you some funds to help go there if you're not going with women's chorus or men's chorus or anything. And then MCDA will happen in the summer, and we'll talk more about that later in the semester. But it's a great place to go for choral music educators. So, yeah, go to the conferences.
Yay! And MCDA is in Springfield.
It is in Springfield. And SWACTA is in Albuquerque.
It has been for the last couple of years.
Hello! You'll see me over here doing all the techie stuff or whatever. So I'm doing social media and stuff this year. We have a link tree with a lot of our links and social medias. If you don't find the social medias, there's our @MoState _MCDA. I'm posting a bunch of good stuff, our meetings. I post polls, questions on what we're going to actually be doing, and I'm trying to keep it fun and active. So make sure you're watching out on the social medias. So yeah.
There's also a nice schedule on the link tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you want to scan it right now, that's the link tree. It's also in the bio on our Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
But anyways, we have some future meetings coming up. September 4th is today. October 2nd is our next one. That's going to be Blake Richter talking about winning middle schoolers. That should be a great session. October 16th. Movie day, yes! We're going to watch a movie, watch for an Instagram poll about what movie to watch. 31st is TBD because Nats is that day, so we're gonna play with that schedule. And then the 20th, Dr. Chessman just confirmed with me that he's gonna be talking about yoga and breathing and body awareness.
Dalcroze, yeah.
It's gonna be really fun to be here. It's not gonna be quite as active as the last meeting, but we will be moving. So, and then December 4th, we're doing silly songs with Larry and studying. So,
Yay!
yeah. Watch the top.
Oh my gosh, you're wearing that shit.
That one's black.
Oh my god.
Mind you, that was just 2 months at, not even that, after my shoulder was replaced. So I was in so much pain. No. Can you tell? Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Good. Let me do a poll. How many people are graduate students? Just you? How many people are seniors? Uh-huh. Well, how many people are juniors? Oh, God. Sophomores? Yeah, and freshmen. Freshmen, can you tell me?
Yes,
I know your
freshmen.
name. Tell me your name.
Devin.
Devin. Finn. Yes, I remember your audition.
Alexandra.
I remember this, yes.
Lillian.
Lillian, very good. Glad you're here. So let's talk about practicing. And you probably just got an email from Noah, did you? It doesn't matter, you don't have to look at it, but it's the handouts of what I'm talking about today, so you can refer to it later. I thought I'd just talk about some kind of silly nuts and bolts, but if you don't know them, you should know them. And then we can talk about kind of philosophy and just kind of the mental game of what practicing is, because it's a mental game, right? So, when learning a song, you need to read the text first to gain understanding of what the lyrics are about, right? And then you learn the rhythm. What's the most? Melody, harmony, rhythm, timbre, texture, form. These are the elements of music. Which is the most important? Thank you, rhythm. You're right. You're right. Nothing's more important than rhythm. So learn the rhythm first. Does everyone here in the room know about IPA source? Freshmen are also shaking their heads. Good. That's great. You should use that. There are mistakes. We found about 4 or 6 on Tuesday in a class, but still, it's a fairly good resource if it's not completely perfect. And you should have a word for word translation of foreign language text. So here's how you learn a song. You speak the text easily, beautifully, right? No glottals and shit like that, things like that, social media, sorry. And then you start speaking it in rhythm. You don't learn a song with your voice. You learn it with your brain, right? And then you start singing. So you speak the text. You can speak the text and start conducting, so you can see where it is in the measure. You know? It's a great way to immediately start honing your conducting skills. Play the melody line on the piano. How many people play the piano well? How many people are going to learn to play well? Yeah. So now's the time to start. Don't wait. Several of my students that have graduated in the last 15 years from here, I see them at the Honor Choir Invitational or different things, and I'll go, "How's it going?" They go, "Great." I go, "What, how's it? Do you have a pianist at your school?" "Yeah, just before the concert." "Yeah." "What do you do until then?" "Well, I use every lunch hour to practice, and it's just me." So it's good to start those skills now. So play the melody line on the piano, and then get good enough you can play the melody line and maybe a bass note or two as you're going along. I like to then kind of speak the text and play, so I start getting those two things connected. And then I might sing the melody line on the neutral syllable, not even the words yet. And then I add the text. So it's quite a bit late into the game that I actually start singing the text. So that's just you don't have to follow that, but it is kind of systematic, and if you do that, you really will kind of get to the steps and be more solid. Yeah? Studio preparation, I just want to talk about this. You should keep a notebook or your iPad full of copies of your music. When you can, purchase original scores, but I wrote this when that was a thing, and it's not a thing anymore. If you see my office, I own thousands and thousands of dollars worth of music. And when my teacher left New York to get married for 10 minutes to a man in Portugal, I don't know why it didn't last. I hope she's not listening. She's not. She gave me all of her opera scores with all of her markings from all of the great conductors she worked with. So sometimes it's fun to look at Tosca and see what von Karajan wrote, or Schulte wrote, or Böhm. These names mean nothing to you, but they're old white people that have died that were great conductors. If you haven't made a plan yet with your pianist about when they're going to come to your lessons, you need to start doing that now. Next week is week 4. I'm expecting my men, and I'll tell them tomorrow at studio. I'm expecting pianists to come in week 5. Yep. How many people do not have a pianist yet? That's okay. No, don't be ashamed. But speak with your teacher about it. Get connected. Find someone you can work with. It doesn't matter if they play the piano well if you can't communicate. And start communicating. If they're playing too fast, figure out a way to tell them to slow down without offending them. It's a skill. It's communication. You want to be able to make music, not just notes and rhythms. God, that's boring. I don't know how many people, do you have specific goals for your voice for this semester? If you don't, think about what you'd like to accomplish. What would you like to be able to do? What are the main things you want to work on? Because if you don't know, then it'll be kind of random, like a drive-by shooting. It's kind of how I teach. If you don't have kind of practice time built into your weekly schedule, you should, I think. It just ensures that you're going to practice. In the weeks that the pianist doesn't come to your lesson, it'd be nice if you had a set time that you met with them outside the lesson. Then you're really connecting. It comes as no surprise when we hear juries, those that are really well-oiled and those that seem thrown together. It gets past none of this. We've been doing this too long. We just know. Sometimes I use a calendar to make specific goals, like I want to learn a piece by this point, want to have it memorized by this point. When I walked in the room, you were playing Winterreise, which is 24 songs. I decided to learn it over a winter break and memorize 24 songs. So I decided to memorizing one a day. Well, that lasted 14 days, and then my brain blew up. So I took a week off, and then I learned the other 10. But if I hadn't set a goal, it would have been like, would have just done it. So make some goals. Use your calendar. There are so many opportunities to perform in Springfield, right? In the MSU community and outside. If you want more to do it. How many people listen to a lot of classical singing? Yeah. If you don't, you won't know what it is. And what you're learning will seem like it's in a vacuum. It's not related to anything. I love to play little videos every once in a while. I played one for you today, didn't I? Oh, I got tenor. What the hell? I'm going to play that in the studio. It's a French tenor. I caught on Facebook yesterday. He's a friend of Michael Spire, so next time I see Michael, I'm going to ask him about it. It sounds like a baritone when he starts, and then he sings a high C, and then he pulls back to a P, and C. It's like, what? It's amazing. If you don't make a plan for every lesson, start doing it. When I taught at another institution, the culture was very casual. And I said to students when they came in, what would you like to do today? I don't know, what do you want to do? You haven't thought about what you want to do? You haven't prepared things for us to do? You should have a plan. Yeah? The teacher will lead, but we want to know what you worked on, what you'd love to work on. Yeah? Please do that for us old farts. You can read the rest of that. That's the fun.
I did forward the email to you guys with the documents if you want to follow.
or just listen and refer to it later. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Why do we practice?
For fun.
Improve. For fun. To improve. To be prepared. None of these are wrong.
To learn.
Olivia.
I feel like to make something become second nature, get it used to your body.
Develop a healthy habit and sensations.
Better.
Is that, Yes.
Sorry,
I thought you were
was gonna-
saluting me.
No. I was
Okay,
gonna,
at ease, Rich.
like, make things more easier
Yes.
for you.
Uh-huh. Yes.
To explore.
Mm-hmm.
Honing your craft.
Mm-hmm. All of these are correct. What else?
Reflection.
Reflection, yeah. Yes, these are part and parcel. You have to decide, I think, at some point. Are you going to be a musician, or do you seek to be an artist? Oh, Grandpa got real. What do you think I mean by that? Olivia.
I feel like it's creating something with what's written on the page versus just doing exactly what's there. You know,
Mhm.
it's bringing your own interpretation and looking at what the composer meant and just bringing more life to something is where the
Absolutely.
artistry comes in.
Absolutely. Creating something so compelling, it impacts you, right? It's audacious. It's urgent. Yeah? It's beyond the scope of right and wrong, notes and rhythms, phrasing and dynamics. It's something intangible. But boy, do audiences feel it when it happens, right? It's that fact. And I think, I think sometimes we think, well, I'm not at that stage. Well, aren't we practicing to get to that place? And isn't artistry also in the process, not the destination? I judged at a competition which I've done several times in Chicago. It's an international music competition and festival. And a little girl from China came in, and when I say little, she was, so small. She might have been 5, maybe. And she used the gear where they put it into the pedals to make pedals, and then there are pedals on top of a box. Have you all seen that? Yeah, it's her mother came in and doing all this stuff, and I got the bench ready, and then she came in, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. I thought it was gonna be good, I did. And then she played for us, and I'm sitting next to the head of piano at Roosevelt University, and we just went. In our side, there were 2 parts of the competition. In our part of the competition, she beat everybody. Even the collegiate level. Because her artistry was unbelievable. Her touch, her phrasing, it was like, and I said, I'm not really a pianist. And he goes, oh my God, that was amazing. It was thrilling. Isn't that weird? A 6-year-old or 5, knee-high to a grasshopper, she was so cute. I think that's why we practice, and no matter where we are with our talent, finding it, honing it, discovering it, I think we have to have something, if you really want to be something special to yourself even, you gotta aim high, yeah? So, I'm just gonna read some things here that I wrote in my delirium. I think you really do have to have desire, direction, I sound like everything. Desire, direction, drive, determination, and dedication to become your truest self. You have to have those things. I think when we're practicing, we're thinking about what is the story overall, and then what specifically is this text. I love to ask myself, what happened before what I'm singing? Even if it's a song from 28 Italian songs and arias. What happened before that caused me to oh, well, I'm going to sing Che Fiero. I think that helps put it in a context, so it's not just, I'm singing a song, it's about love, it's really pretty. Right? It's compelling. What does it mean, phrase by phrase, and why does it lead to another? So many people, and I did this at your age, I was looking for answers, and I'll tell you what we should have. We should have more questions. Who cares about the answers? Ask questions constantly. That's what I do in opera sometimes. Why is that eighth note there? Why is the piano still here? Why is there no accompaniment?
You did that to me. Like,
Yeah.
really, why is that eighth note there? That is those exact words.
Yeah, why is that there? Why do you write that? Yeah, why do you do that? I don't know. Well, what do you think? It makes a difference in our music making. It really does. What is the urgency that you need to tell it now? It's got to be. Otherwise, it'd be like my friend that says, why is this urgent? And you're like, I don't know. And she goes, okay, sit down. Next. She's an acting teacher. Whom are you and to whom are you speaking? That's always important to know when you're singing a song. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's talk about the elusive art of practicing. I talk about warming up differently than vocalizing. To me, warming up is akin to a track meet, and people are in the grass in the middle, and they're stretching, and they're doing all sorts of things, and talking to each other, and whatever, right? And then all of a sudden the coach comes out, he or she or whatever, and has a whistle and a clipboard or iPad now or whatever. And they start doing very specific things, wind sprints or doing, a hurdle here or long jump there or whatever. But specific, to me, that's what vocalizing is. It's goal-oriented and very specific. I'm not saying that there's not value to warming up, but I think vocalizing is very different. It's discovery versus routine. It's mindfulness versus repetition. Practice makes permanent. If you keep practicing something in a certain way, that's the way it will be. So if you're practicing something and it's not easy, and you keep practicing it like that, it will remain uneasy. You don't practice something until you get it right. You practice it until
You can't get it wrong.
you can't get it wrong. The habits you're learning now with your throat and the sensations you feel will continue unless you seek change. And maybe you don't seek change, maybe they're very nice sensations. But if there are sensations you don't like with your throat as you sing, as you vocalize, and you keep making those sensations, those are becoming the habit. I expressed to, my teacher took a sabbatical while I was studying with him, a little bit cray-cray. So I studied with my piano teacher's wife, beautiful mezzo-soprano voice. And she could be a little bit snarky, which I don't even understand what that word means myself, but, the laughter, why? No, she looked at me one day and she said, Chris, you may think your voice is not attractive, but unless you try to make it attractive, all I'm hearing is idiosyncrasies. My father died last year, and when I went to the memorial, I got there a little bit early, and I called her and her husband, which I was glad because they were getting ready to move to Washington State. And so I said, can I see you guys? And she said, oh yeah, come on. And I reminded her of the story, and she said, oh my, I said that to you, and I said, oh, it stung at the time, Jennifer, but God, I've thought about it ever since then. Making the voice easier, making it more attractive. I didn't feel like I had a very attractive voice. It certainly didn't feel very good, so I decided to be smart and a good musician. So I did really difficult music nobody else could do. Well, so what? I wish I had felt differently and been encouraged differently, but I wish I had felt differently and sought them, right? I think something that's really important is I teach singing from a standpoint that the singing sound is derived from our speech. It's beautiful speech, pitched and sustained. So in that manner, and it's important if you're going to be educators because you're going to be using your voice all day long, that you speak well. You know, if you kind of talk like that, Britney Spears or some idiot, Kim Kardashian, or one of those plastic people we see on television. I'm not a fan. But you need to work on your. When I started college, I kind of talked like this because I come from Western Kansas, and everybody kind of puts it in their nose. It's kind of flat, and my teacher's like, "We got to change that." Well, I said, "Why? That's not how we talk," and whatever. Anyway, I did change. I think we have to invite and coax the voice instead of demand. I get in the practice room sometimes at your age, and I was like, "Come on, get that note to work. That vowel, that closed A, right?" Instead of like, okay, maybe I can't sing it at that pitch level today. Maybe I just won't. Can I sing it at any pitch level? Can it be comfortable? How can I invite it to go up maybe a step, maybe a minor third? I think that's so important to take it slow and easy and not race through. But start with a really, really comfortable foundation. Do we learn by listening as we're singing? Hell to the no. We learn by
Feeling.
sensing. Sensations. The ears are too close to the voice. We don't know what we sound like. Y'all are too young to remember when answering machines came out. It was a big thing, believe me. And people would make the recording like, "I'm sorry, the Thompsons aren't home right now, leave a message." And then they play it and go, "Well, that's not what I sound like." Like, actually it is. And my mother would be like, "I do?" Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's sensation. It's sensation. Yeah. Begin and build slowly. Pay attention to your body. Seek tranquility, calm, and comfort. Calm is a word my latest voice teacher used a lot. I'd say, "Can you be calm at 14?" She said, "I can." Isn't that weird to think? Calm at a forte? Calm at a fortissimo? But it can be done. We just think, I thought there had to be some sort of athletic, muscular, right, to get there. Because that's kind of what it sounded like to me. It was over the top. I couldn't do it, and I had to hear these people. But it's through calm if it's going to be good. Okay, so let's talk about these things that I think help. A, B, C, D, E. A, adversity. You're practicing and something goes awry. What is the perceived problem? My high notes suck. B, belief. How does your mind immediately respond? I'll never get it. Consequences. What are the ramifications of your belief? I'll always be mediocre. Disputation. Without rationalization, what do you say to yourself that is both honest and positive? Turn it around. What could I have said to myself about that high note? Wasn't very good then. Try it again. Could be. What got in the way? I think that's important. We jump to the negative and go, "Oh God, I'll never be like them." Why is it easy for her? Right? Traeger. That's what he says all the time. Why is it easy for her in his lessons? I don't understand. And then the E is energization, I call it. How can energy grow out of the disputation to encourage an optimistic outcome rather than pessimistic? And it's not Pollyanna. I'm not just going to make everything sunshine. I'm going to be honest, and maybe it isn't working today. Maybe I need to take it down. Maybe I need to sing it softer, slower, faster, louder, sweeter. Maybe you need to take the text away. There's all sorts of things. But how many people have negative thoughts when they're practicing? If your hand isn't going up, you're not honest. Yeah, every single one of us. It's how we talk to ourselves. We have a whole parade of people inside our heads talking. And I'm going to tell you right now, do your best to fire the naysayers and hire people who are honest but kind. Right? People that are encouraging. People that go, "Okay, it's not working right now, but talk to your teacher about it." Talk to one of your friends about it. Maybe an older classmate. Maybe somebody you heard singing the same piece, maybe we're doing it really well. Ask them if they had any problems with it. It's so important, psychology, when we're singing. Have you ever heard it said that singing's about 10% voice and 90% brain? I'm a lot older than you, and I've heard a lot of young people with incredible voices that 10 or 15 years down the road, it's like, what happened? Any number of things. Don't always think that those people that it seems easy will make it. One of the sweetest things this teacher, I was out at Music Academy of the West, which is a very good program, a young arts program. You should write that down if you're going to do one. Also, it's free. It wasn't at the time, but Marilyn Horn got involved after I left, and she got funding, and some gazillionaire gave money, and it's in Santa Barbara. How many people have been to Santa Barbara? How many people have been to California? It's gorgeous. It is beautiful. But I was singing and I was bemoaning the fact that I felt like I wasn't as good as some of the other young artists. I felt like their voices were easy, they were more further ahead, had gone to bigger schools, they were more connected, they were hipper, they were more confident, everything. She goes, "Oh honey, you're a sleeper." And I said, "What?" She said, "You're a sleeper." I said, "What do you mean by that?" Nina Henson was her name. She said, "You're a hard worker." And I said, "Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I am." And she said, "You're going to figure out your voice. You have tenacity. And also, it's never been easy, has it?" And I said, "My life has not been easy." She goes, "Okay, you're a fighter. But you also love music." And I said, "Oh, my word." She said, you stay with it. You stay with it. Some of these kids, as soon as they reach something that's difficult, they'll drop out. And it's true. Out of the 24 of us, there are a few teaching, probably fewer than 6 are teaching or singing, and the rest are totally out of music, or sadly dead. I have nothing to do with that, Paisley. But isn't that amazing? And some of them were, amazing. Amazing. So, this panel of experts that we have in here that talk, I think you have to kind of have evidence on both sides. If you immediately go into the negative, you have to listen to those voices and then listen to the people that can be positive, get a balance. And there's also, looking at different ways of other ways to look at adversity. So for instance, "Oh, my voice is so tight, I'll never get this. Give me something back, positive."
Won't get it yet.
I haven't got it yet. I'll never get my high notes. They're so weak.
I'll work up to them.
I'll work up to them.
You can sing higher than you could before.
I sing higher than I did 2 years ago. I know it seems like so stupid to do it, but you have to constantly do that. Right, Theron? You do. You just came back from a big summer program, singing all summer. How many performances did you do?
13.
Does that include the cabarets and all those things?
Yeah. Oh, I guess 14.
Yeah, I did British. Well, the year I did school shows out in San Diego with San Diego Opera, we did 300. It's a lot of singing. I mean, it was only an hour long, 45 minutes. But some we did 3 a day, and then have other rehearsals. That's a lot. So one time, I was asked to sing a solo with our choir, and we kind of never rehearsed it. We kind of read through it once in rehearsal. And then we were supposed to do this gig in Kansas City, and we drove there, and as we were getting out of the bus, our choral director, who's an asshole, said, "Oh, we're gonna do your solo." I was like, at this con, I hadn't even practiced it because we only read it like. And the beginning of it was a cappella, and I was so nervous because I couldn't find the pitches. And he goes, "Oh, I guess we can't do it then. Fine." So can you imagine how you would feel? How I felt. So I got back to school, and I was mortified. I mean, I don't care about being embarrassed in front of my colleagues. I was just mortified that I was expected to do something. Somehow I didn't understand that, and I didn't know it. Believe me, the next time I did. But I got back to school and I was relating this to one of the other voice teachers, and she said, "So what?" And I said, "What?" He was really angry. "So what? It's just music. No lives were lost. Who cares? Do better next time. Whatever. Next." You can't imagine how good that made me feel. She was a pro. So what? Get over it. Yeah.
This summer, it's from a show, I don't know, it's some TV show or something, but this summer I constantly have to remind myself to have the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, it is.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah. I heard it somewhere, and so I was like, okay, that went really bad. Good next time.
Yeah, right. Right. It's so important. Usefulness. Sometimes the accuracy of the voices is not important. What matters is whether thinking about it now will do any good. Shelve it. I've had a lot of therapy, and one time my therapist said, "Oh, honey, just put that in some Rubbermaid or Tupperware and just put it right up here." Okay, next, let's talk about something else now. I'm going to tell you some things I wish I had known earlier. I wish I had been kinder and more patient with myself when I was your age, in the practice room. I wish I had known that my teacher doesn't have the answers. No one does. Everyone's just doing their best. I wish I had known more acutely that you can learn something from every musician you meet, even if it's, "I will never do it that way." I wish I would have known more deeply that my search for what I wanted could be achieved more thoroughly through questioning than trying to achieve answers. Is this totally free? Am I singing with undue pressure? Have I crossed the line from energy into effort? I love that one. Is this my clearest vowel? Can it be more playful? I wish I had known I would have better work if I worked more frequently for shorter durations, especially as I'm building certain skills. That longer times are not as helpful. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I'm going to actually just for a few minutes try this out. I wish I had dedicated myself to singing each note with a beautiful, fully released tone. Not simply going through some things and getting to a longer note, but each note. As if I could stop on it, it would be free, beautiful vowel, tone raised. I wish I had worked at your age from a greater place of comfort. Wish I had more curiosity. I wish I had greater generosity with myself, right? I wish I had never let frustration or impatience, which are foreign to me as my students know, it's me in a nutshell, become more personal toward me. You know, I get impatient and then it's about me and then I get angry at my voice or myself. Oh my God, that's really helpful. Not, right? Don't become too impatient. Walk away. Do something else for a while. Come back to it. Oh, here's a great one that certainly is me in a nutshell now. spend far less time caring about other people's opinions. Do you really think you're going to keep in contact with every single person in this room after you graduate? Who gives a shit what they think? It should matter what you think about you, right? And build your philosophy of what you think singing is, and music making is, and artistry is. Because believe me, when you're standing in front of your classes all day long, they don't care what your teacher thought. They don't care what your colleagues thought. They care what you think. Right? It seems so obvious, but it's not really when you're in college, and then suddenly you're student teaching going, thankfully there's a collaborating teacher that I can connect with, but then the next step is me there by myself. And the more you think about this now, like, this is what I think of music. This is what I think of, you know. One of my colleagues said I was sort of arrogant or something when I was out student teaching. I said, confident, different. I wasn't arrogant. I was questioning every single thing I did, but I knew deep down in my soul that I knew more about music than anybody else in the room. All the other students, right? Maybe not the quality teacher. He had such a beautiful voice. Beautiful tenor. I'll never forget Dan.
Dan.
His wife went to prison. She was embezzling.
He's watching.
Sorry, Dan. Love you. Really beautiful voice, though. I mean,
I was gonna say he's watching right now.
Yes.
Wow.
He's one of these people that showed no expression. He's about 5'2" by 5'2", and no, he wasn't, but but just no expression. And then he'd sing, and I would be like, "Oh my God, that is a beautiful tenor." Took my breath away. Every time. I wish I cared more about art than perfection. I came from a family that preached about being right and wrong all the time. Right? And music? Ooh. I wish I practiced more without singing. You know, my latest teacher studied the old Italian way, 5 lessons a week, an hour each time at least, maybe an hour and a half, and she was never allowed to sing outside the lesson. But she was expected to practice at least 2 hours a day. How does one practice singing without singing? She practiced everything else. Speaking, languages, phrasing, breath. She imagined what she would be doing. I love that. Total control. Started singing at 16, 17 and a half, made her New York City debut. Yeah, and I played her recording for some of my students when she was 19. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I wish I would spend more time with text so it would have become really personal. My story. You know, I've done a lot of stage work, at least 75 roles in musical theater and opera. And at your age, I thought the idea of acting was to become something, to become the character, right? I guess maybe I still do. But now, especially after, I've never had any acting lessons per se, I've just had really patient directors and good colleagues. It's about finding that character within me. So really, every time I'm on stage, I'm playing me. It's just a different part of me. And everybody in here could be a murderer. Couldn't you? If at night you heard a little noise and you got up and you saw someone standing over a loved one with a knife and there was a bat close by, I'm not kidding. We have to believe that a little bit of every part of humanity is in us. Otherwise, it's us and them. And to really live a song, if you believe you could be the poet, or you believe you could be that character somehow in a different century, it takes it to a different level because it's very intimate and personal. I mean, we don't learn things by head, do we? We learn them by heart, which is a completely different thing. That's Simon Carrington found it over the King's Singers. Said that. I love that. I wish I'd create a more realistic goals, both short-term and long-term. Realistic. I wanted to be, I wanted to be there. I didn't want to take the baby steps. Ask more questions. Listen more, although I did listen a lot. I wish I had thought a lot more about my whole body being the instrument. Especially when I sang in a choral setting. Right? I see a lot of people nodding heads like, I forget that I have a body below here, and then wonder after 50 minutes why. I was doing a professional gig in Kansas City a few years ago, and the bass sitting next to me was getting his doctorate at the University of Kansas with the same man that I studied with. He's quite a good voice. And we stopped, and he goes, oh my God, my larynx is, I feel like it's on top of my head. And I said, oh, you'll do much better when you know the music. And I said, okay, that came out wrong. I'm so sorry. But truly, it sounds, I mean, we have rehearsals next week, and after this music sat in you and you know it better, you're going to be able to sing it better. But you're kind of reading right now. Because, yeah, I am. That's it. When you know it better, you'll sing it better. That's why the first few weeks of any semester, fall semester, are tough, right? How many people already know that they're at the first few weeks, you're like, I wish I were singing better. But I'm in reading mode, and so I'm in my head, and I don't have enough bandwidth to also have some attention to my sensations here. Well, guess what? Next week is week 4, so let's start blending into that. Yeah, let's start letting it come, no matter what the circumstance. Yeah, because you'll always feel better about yourself. I wish I would, oh gosh, I mistyped. Remove any distractions while you're practicing. If you think, if your phone or your watch or people, I used to take Scotch tape and paper and just tape the window. I didn't want to see anybody. They could be standing there listening to my awful sounds, but I didn't want to see them. Do whatever you can to just be in your own space. Those winger practice rooms suck. Because you can't really hear, right? It just tries to suck up all the sound. So I would suggest this. Anytime, see the door right now? It's cracked open. And if you were to walk by here at 8 o'clock at night, you would. Practice in here. 300, 400. If one of those per course studios happens to be open, sneak in. Use it. Just don't get caught. But really, you'll always sing better in a bigger space. It'll feel different.
What a Parker.
What's that?
What a Parker.
Oh, well, everyone wants to be Parker. Parker lives in the largest house in town and has a sanctuary at his disposal and a choral room and a myriad of practice rooms and an atrium.
Ping pong table?
Yes, ping pong tables.
What? Where do you live?
He lives in First and Calvary. They have an apartment inside the church.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's so
Don't ask him for any favors. But it is great, isn't it? Yeah. I'll tell you what I wish I had done, because I do it now, and it gets in my way, but it also helps. I wish I would have brought myself to the edge emotionally in my practice. You know what I mean by that? No, not just. I do that sometimes. I was reading something. I canceled my recital, which was supposed to be Tuesday, but Dr. Mears and I met this summer. We were practicing, and we sang this song. I hope to rally back and sing it. And when we were done, we both looked at each other with crocodile tears. It's just so beautiful. The song. Not us necessarily, but though I hope. But really, the song. But I think we have to do that. I mean, do you like to go to recitals and classical music where you hear pretty things but don't feel anything, I leave. Often, I've walked out on the Met. Numerous times. I'm like, no, you're not going to phone it in. No. I wish I had done more body work at your age. Yoga, Pilates, Alexander technique, whatever. It's so valuable. This old dog's thinking about doing Tai Chi again. I did it when I was in London. Slow motion karate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
It's really cool. That's about all I can do now. I wish I wouldn't have worried about the outcome, where it was all headed. Will I fit into the business? Will I get a job? Will I be accepted? Those are natural concerns, but at the end of the day, they're taking my energy away from actually being the artist I want to be. Yeah. I wish I'd been more thankful for tough love and skill building. I had some pretty rough teachers that taught me. Warm and fuzzy, not so much. I'll always be eternally grateful. I wish I'd been more grateful at the time and not worried about, well, he doesn't like me. Who cares? You have a lot to learn from him. One of the most impactful conductors, I don't think he ever said a nice thing to me at all. And one time when I was singing in the pit, he went, oh. I was like, oh, I'm still performing. And he's like rolling his eyes at me. And now I'm like, yeah, who cares? What he taught me about Mozart, amazing. I wish I'd been more in control of my learning. I expected the learning to come to me, or my teachers to teach me. Well, they're going to help, hopefully, but they're not it. You're it. Right? They're just tools, in the best sense of the word. She's such a tool, he's such a tool. Yeah, I wish I'd understand more the importance of vulnerability as I practice. More wagging, less barking. Wish I'd done more of that. Wish you'd want to see me wag in public. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts about practice. Do you have any questions or comments or your own observations about yourself? Ellie's like, what
That
the
was
hell?
like perfect timing.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I planned.
So I was talking earlier with some people. I think that like something that's been like hard this year, especially, has been balancing practicing certain things, like when and how long do I practice my solo rep? When and how long do I practice my car rep? When and how long do I practice my piano rep? And then opera rep and all of this. So how would you, like, you said?
No, that's the age-old thing. I wasn't a piano major, but I was on the piano scholarship as well as voice scholarship. But I was a voice major. I just was crazy, and I just decided that I would sight read at the piano from 6:30 to 7 every morning, practice my piano from 7 to 8:25, and I always had an 8:30. So my piano was taken care of, and that was all I was going to do, and the rest of it was going to be voice. I decided, for the most part, again, I learned this later, but I was not going to learn anything with my voice. So there was going to be a lot of time at the piano, and you guys were, I mean, I took around a cassette, a big stupid thing in a bag, and oh God. And then all of a sudden I get home and go, okay, let me listen to my lesson. Because the batteries were dying. Really? Really? My life isn't hard enough? But you guys have digital recorders. I would be using those much more. First time I did a professional musical theater thing where I was conductor, showed up, and we had 2 weeks to put the entire show together. We started rehearsal on a Saturday, not in 2 weeks, and then we opened not the next Thursday, but the following. And I was like, I know this stuff. It's All Shook Up. How many people know All Shook Up? It uses Elvis Presley music. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. So much fun. And I had worked really hard on it. And so I got there and I go, okay, here we go. How many people, you probably already have your music because they sent it, and how many people need music? All these people had never looked at it. But they had their digital recorders, their phones. And in 2 days we learned 26 songs. And what they didn't know the first day, they came back and had learned that night because they listened and worked on it, listened, worked on it, listened, worked on it, listened, worked on it, listened. And then the stuff that we learned on a Sunday, they knew by Monday. It was professional summer song. So it's really powerful. So if you're, I would use it much more in choir if I could. I'd turn it on, especially if you have been practicing something and the director says, okay, now we're going to go through this. Man, that's on. I would do that. You're recording every time you rehearse in opera. That can help. You have recordings for opera. That can help. You have recordings probably for most of the choral music. That can help. And then I would just begin like designing your days. And just, this part is for this part is for this. Also, it's really important to find your solo voice if you want to. If you don't want to, that's your gig. But if you want to sing with a good solo voice, you need to find your good solo voice before you go to choir. And if that means, like you and I talked about today, Xander has a class right before, it's like Monday, Wednesday, or what? Tuesday, Thursday? Monday, Wednesday.
Well, kind of both.
Kind of both. Okay, so like Monday, Wednesday, he said he has a class kind of right before chorale. I said, what do you have right before that? Nothing. Well, he gets to the practice room, finds his solo voice before that class, and then after the class, as he's walking quickly, or riding his bike, or one of those scooters, or on the top of one of those robots, he hums, he does whatever, and finds himself again before he gives himself away in choir. That's vitally important. How many people can tell me honestly, this is not a dig at choir, there's no one at this university that has more professional choral experience than me, and made more money than me. I lack money. And I had none in New York, but I made a lot doing choral stuff. I mean, at the time, this is 25 years ago, I was making $37 an hour, and then $150 a service is what they call it, and that would be like for a dress rehearsal. So if you have 2 dress rehearsals and a performance, boom, 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 and you have 3 different rehearsal periods where you're doing 3 hours of rehearsal each time, it adds up, especially if you're involved in multiple ensembles. But find your solo voice before you give it away. Does that help at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What other questions might you have? Yes?
How do you know the difference between a song that is vocally challenging in a good way and one that's just too hard for you?
It should become pretty evident fairly quickly. You know, if you have a note or two that are a stretch, okay, that's one thing. If much of the piece sits a little high, no brainer, no way. We call that tessitura, right? That's where the majority of the piece lies. So if the tessitura, for instance, is too high, probably not the song for you right now, or it's the right song, just not the right key. How many people use art song transposition? Write it down. Somewhere. It's a service that we get here, and we pay for it. And Jonathan, a former colleague of mine who's performed with me, runs it. He's a savant. He can do this stuff so quickly and beautifully. So you just Google art song transposition, it comes up, and then you choose your institution, and I would hope you choose Missouri State. And then after you choose it, you put in your password and yada yada, and then it comes up. It's not comprehensive, but he does have a lot there. So for instance, you're doing Bereit über mein Haupt by Strauss. And you want to see if he has a different key for that. You type in Strauss, Richard Strauss, and then he will list the songs he has. And if he happens to have Bereit über mein Haupt, You find that, and then you remember the key that you have, and see if he has a key that is a little lower, a little higher, whatever. But I think most of the time it becomes evident pretty quickly. And be smarter than I was at your age. Work from a place of comfort. I often tell students, yeah, you can sing it at this key, but maybe we should start at a step lower. And if it's really cooking, yeah, we'll try. But let's not start difficult. Let's start easier so we sing well. How many people feel like they can sing artistically when it's almost impossible to sing? No one can say that. If it's really difficult to sing, all your attention is, am I going to survive and not embarrass myself? That's a horrible feeling. I heard, oh gosh, he was a sweet guy. Handsome too. But he was singing Rodrigo de Don Carlos, a role too big for him. He was a lyric baritone, like me. And he was singing fairly well that night, but I thought, push him a little bit. 3,000 seat house. I told most of my studio this. He's singing his aria, and he tries to sing the high G flat, and he kind of makes some like dog-like sound, and 3,000, and nobody meant to, but 3,000 people went, and then he had to figure out how to sing the rest of the aria. He was dropping down an octave, he was coming back up, he was singing lightly. Sing from comfort. Sing from comfort.
On that note, we've ran out of time. We have them reserved until 7:30 if Dr. Thompson would like to sit and talk.
Oh,
but
sure.
if you want to leave,
Sure.
go for it. But time is technically up.
You are released. No.
Unless we have any more questions, I think we should give Dr. Thompson a round of applause. Thank you for coming.
If you guys came in late or anybody didn't fill out the interest form, please fill it out. That's how to know what you guys are interested in, what you might want to see in future meetings, and